In Venezuela, the electoral drill ahead of the regional and national elections of May 25th concluded with positive results. President Putin met his Palestinian counterpart Mahmoud Abbas this Saturday in the framework of the latter's visit to Moscow during Victory Day celebrations. And the Indian government has accused Pakistan of violating the agreement on immediate ceasefire. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Venezuela, the electoral drill ahead of the regional and national elections of May 25th concluded. The National Electoral Council summoned citizens to participate in the democratic exercise with the objective of familiarizing voters with the system. This drill allowed the testing of the voting machines, checking the effectiveness of the transmission media, and evaluating the technical operation and logistics of the procedure. For this purpose, the National Electoral Council set up a total of 1,187 voting centers nationwide with the intention of strengthening the democratic processes in Venezuela.
El Consejo Nacional Electoral informa a todo el país que ha concluido el...
The National Electoral Council informs the entire country that the electoral drill planned for today has concluded, a drill that began yesterday with the entire process of receiving the electoral material. The entire process of installation of the polling stations was also carried out yesterday in all the voting centers.
This is a very important process for us, because it is an exercise, it is a drill, where we are going to evaluate all the results of the aspects that were being analyzed as each one of the protocols started.
In Venezuela, the President of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, stressed the importance of this election day and commended the electoral system of the country, in addition to noting that the Venezuelan people wants to be at peace.
This is one of the usual days the electoral system of Venezuela gets us used to, a day characterized by the tremendous technical efficiency, the huge preparedness capacity to conduct a trustworthy election of the electoral system of Venezuela. This poll attaches great importance. It has very special features, as this election is two elections in one. We'll be electing the National Assembly of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, a national assembly that must walk side by side with the great changes the country needs to reach prosperity, mostly to preserve tranquility and peace. That's what the Venezuelan people wants. The Venezuelan people just wants to be at peace.
And in the state of Carabobo, dozens of voters mobilized to take part in the electoral process ahead of the regional and national elections of May 25th.
Venezuela is showing that we are democratic because in reality we Venezuelans are used to this form of revolution, because it is a revolution and, well, here is the proof that there is democracy in Venezuela. We are going out to vote. They called on us and here we are, in the front row supporting this whole electoral process.
In this context, authorities of the Venezuelan National Electoral Council went to the Andres Bello School, where they supervised the progress of the electoral drill in preparation for the regional and national elections. Authorities affirmed that May 25th elections will have more than 15,000 voting centers and 27,000 polling stations. On the other hand, they informed that the country has an advance of 47% of audits to the electoral system, which is a guarantee of transparency that is of interest to the organizations participating with political purposes. And Venezuelan participants in the electoral drill reported that the voting process is smooth and easy.
The process has been quite smooth, quite participative, from all the circuits of the Candelaria parish. We believe it must be a success in order to achieve our objectives, which is the popular participation of all the Venezuelan people regarding the objectives of the Venezuelan revolution.
It's very easy, they just ask for your ID card, they send it to the machine and in the machine, they put you in the ballot box, they take your ID card, your fingerprint and that's it. That's quick, I don't think it didn't take me a minute.
And in other topics, in Brazil, as part of the agrarian reform fair, the landless workers movement donated 25 tons of food to soup kitchens in the city of Sao Paulo. The food donation will be distributed to 35 soup kitchens with the aim of changing the lives of the most vulnerable in Sao Paulo. According to the MST, the soup kitchens serve different social sectors, among them children, elderly, and the homeless. They emphasize that these donations reach populations with little access to public policies, which is why they call on the national government to expand and strengthen its social policies.
It is great being able to talk to people of all walks of life about the importance of the agrarian reform for every citizen, for those who are in the settlements, but also for all members of society to defend democracy, to defend structural changes in our country, and to support an agrarian reform.
I think it is a huge gain for Sao Paulo. It is above all a space where the struggle for agrarian reform is evident. This is just not a regular food donation, it is not just any organic food, it is an organic food that comes from the hands of the fighters for an agrarian reform in Brazil. We know that the struggle for agrarian reform is one of the most important struggles in our country, because it is a country founded on slavery and large estates, so I would say that it is one of the most important struggles, the struggle for land.
And in the framework of the National Mother's Day, the social organization of Searching Mothers in Mexico is holding a vigil to commemorate the memory of their deceased or missing children. On Saturday, dozens of families and mothers gather at the Monument to the Mother, located in Mexico City, to pay tribute to those who dedicate their lives to finding their children. The mobilized gather with flowers, banners, and photos of victims with the aim of setting up a campaign to raise awareness about forced disappearance. And in El Salvador, the closure of the highway to Los Chorros on the Pan American Highway caused a public transportation strike, revealing the social situation in the country. The paralysis of the public transport service forced President Nayib Bukele to decree free urban bus fares after the closure of the road to the west due to a series of landslides. Since then, bus terminals and bus stops collapsed in the capital, which caused the arrest of transportation managers and repressive actions by the government, allegedly to guarantee their operation. Experts point out that these actions taken by the government of El Salvador seek to divert attention from the current social and political situation in the country. We now have a first break coming up. First, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English. You will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro continues his visit to Russia. On Saturday, he toured the fortress of St. Peter and St. Paul in St. Petersburg, where he recalled the fact the great Venezuelan General Francisco de Miranda, Venezuela's supreme leader, fought in the Russian army. President Maduro also took part in the traditional symbolic ceremony of the firing of an artillery piece known as the noon shot. This as part of the 80th anniversary of the Great Patriotic War. And the president of Venezuela as well, Nicolás Maduro, honored the Soviet soldiers of the Second World War in the city of St. Petersburg. From the Memorial Cemetery in St. Petersburg, the Venezuelan president participated in a wreath-laying ceremony to honor the fallen soldiers of the Second World War. During the event, President Nicolás Maduro highlighted the heroism of the Soviet Union in the fight against the fascist forces in Europe. The Venezuelan head of state also met with Russian authorities as part of his agenda in the framework of Victory Day.
Humanity is fighting against the resurgence of the Nazis, of the fascists. We defend the right to peace, the right to the future, to the coexistence of peoples. It is almost impossible to find an example like that of Stalingrad, of Leningrad, and that of the Soviet people who went from here to Berlin to liberate Europe, to liberate humanity.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Vietnam Secretary General To Lam to Welcome back. Over the last few hours, the Indian government has accused Pakistan of violating the agreement on an immediate ceasefire. According to Indian authorities, explosions were registered in different areas of the Kashmir region hours after the ceasefire had been declared. In this sense, the Indian government urged the neighboring country to comply with the agreement and warned that India's military forces are called upon to respond to any international threat. Following the alleged Pakistani attack, the Indian states of Rajasthan and Punjab reported a partial power blackout and multiple breaches along the control line between the two countries. And the government of Nigeria reimbursed $3.4 billion of emergency funding it received from the International Monetary Fund in April 2020. Authorities detailed that the financial assistance had been used to address the economic challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, despite full repayment, Nigeria would be required to make annual payments of $30 million in special drawing rights. The repayment on the loan proved the administration's commitment to meet its international financial obligations and enhance its credibility with global financial institutions. The world celebrates Migratory Bird Day as every second Saturday in May. The United Nations had set such date to commemorate the collaboration between the Convention on Migratory Species and the African-Eurasian Migratory Waterbird Agreement. Furthermore, the United Nations established the Migratory Bird Day to raise people's awareness of the importance of preserving the bird's ecosystem. This year's campaign urged the international community to work together to create and conserve habitats and to join efforts to reduce pollution. Meanwhile, in Argentina, on Saturday, local authorities reported damages and 2 elderly people injured by falling trees in the province of Misiones due to torrential rains. The authorities said that the streets were flooded, which caused utility poles to fall, causing power outages and significant material damage to homes in different localities. So far, no fatalities have been reported. However, authorities are calling on the population to take shelter and to be on the alert, as the rains will continue. In South Korea's political parties are nominating their presidential candidates for the June 3, 2025 election starting this Saturday. Among the candidates, Lee Jae-myung of the Democratic Party made his presidential candidacy official and is emerging as one of the favorites after leading most of the polls, while the ruling People's Power Party chose Kim Moon-soo as its presidential candidate after several rounds of primaries. And the ongoing 27th China-Beijing International High-Tech Expo boasts a strong international presence with over 120 companies from more than 30 countries and regions. Running from May 8th to the 11th, the expo themed Science and Technology for a Better Future features over 800 technology companies and institutions from home and abroad. Companies from countries including Singapore and South Korea brought technological products in the fields of artificial intelligence, large models, biomedicine, and intelligent manufacturing, hoping to open up the Chinese market through the expo. The event has created a convenient environment for trade negotiations with more than 10 trade fairs and investment consultation meetings held to promote pragmatic cooperation.
Always been very interested in the Chinese market. I mean, obviously due to the size of it, and so we want to be able to get closer to it to really understand it. So we're looking for partners, investors, strategic investors, anyone who can really give us the knowledge of omni-channel distribution in China, so both online and offline.
It's the absolutely perfect opportunity to come here and in the open space see what every company brings here and just come, see and ask everybody on this platform what this technology do. Why is it so special? And that's the reason why we want everyone invited here.
Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.